Welcome to the Sage Thought Leadership Podcast, building experiences that connect, remove friction, and deliver insights. Well, hi, everyone, and welcome to our podcast. I'm Ed Kless, and with me today is my Sage colleague, William Boone. William is a curious and passionate Irishman working to change global mindset on better ways of working. From his base in the French Alps, William calls for psychological safety and the ever-increasing need for it. At Sage, he is an experienced Agile coach with demonstrated history of working in the global computer software industry. He is skilled in implementing Agile methodologies and software development best practices. Welcome to the Sage Thought Leadership Podcast, William.
Thank you very much, Ed. I don't know if I should have a huge head now from that wonderful introduction that you've given me, but fantastic. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. And William, why do you do what you do?
The fundamental question. I'm passionate about helping people in any way that I can. So I've built up some skills, I hope, and abilities. And at my age in life where I am now, I want to share that with people and help them to avoid some of the challenges and the difficulties that I've had. And really, if you can learn from other people through mentoring or coaching, I believe everyone needs some form of coaching, and you can avoid a lot of the obstacles that are there in life. If I can help people along the way, then that motivates me, that helps me. I don't believe in materialistic things. I'm not a huge driver of money. I mean, it's there, needed. But there's so much more you can get from actually helping people, the invisible things that make a big difference. That's what drives me.
And talk a little bit about something that's in your bio, and that is this notion of psychological safety.
Yes, I think this is something that's become hugely important. Well, I believe so. We talk about it within Sage, and I think we talk about it overall. If we look at it from maybe a quick history lesson, we had the Industrial Revolution and we had the Information Revolution. And a lot of people talk about now what we call the Social Revolution. And what we mean by that is that there's really a focus on people and the needs of people and helping people to be the best that they can be. Whereas in the past, we were more focused on efficiency and output, and getting all those things done. But as I like to say, we're not robots. And that social aspect, that human aspect has become hugely important. In Sage now, we talk about it. It's a real theme of being human. And I think overall, my interactions with the world, that social aspect and having people be able to talk and to speak and talk about different things, it is necessary, and we need to encourage it as much as possible.
And talk about how that is you've experienced this in growing it inside your own life per se, or even the work that you do at Sage.
Yes, I do a lot of facilitation. I work with a lot of teams. I've been working over my past years mostly with a lot of software development teams, but I work with a lot of other teams. And I find that post-COVID, especially, we've expected people to adapt to this new world of, hey, we're all online, we're working in this hybrid way. And it isn't there. It just isn't where we would like it to be. And I think where organizations would like it to be. And I try to engage with people and put things in place and interact with them and share knowledge and experience. And, for example, people listening to this is like, well, how do I know if I have psychological safety, or a manager? How do I know? Well, the first question you ask yourself is, how are your team doing? Okay. If you don't know the answer to that question right now, then you possibly have a challenge with psychological safety. As a team member, how are we doing? I'm part of a team. How is our team doing? If you can answer that and pinpoint what the challenges are or how you're actually doing, then maybe you also have challenges with psychological safety. So it can open up a whole kind of box of various different things that can help you to see the world in a better way. I mean, it's huge, psychological safety. And we'd like many things, I talk to people and like, well, tell me what I can do and tell me, we can provide guidelines, but like many things, it's a journey. And it's a journey that you have to go on, and you have to take people on that journey with you. And you have to go through the ups and downs of it. Because again, we don't fit into boxes. We'll do this will happen, this is the output. This isn't the way people work. And through history, we know this. So that's what I'm always trying to keep in mind.
Yeah, the business is not science because there's people involved, right?
Exactly.
So talk a little bit how you might relate psychological safety with innovation.
Innovation, I think, has so many different forms, but maybe simply it's, why are we doing this? Or what value is that going to bring? Or, hey, that's a crazy idea, and I'm not sure it's going to work. A lot of us, when we get involved in things, we want it to be positive. We want it to be great. I think if we had that kind of disconnected voice or someone in the back to say, hey guys, where are we going, or what's this all about, or what is it? To ask these questions that maybe a lot of people don't want to ask, even if it's possibly to play the devil, as some people like to do, but just to kind of put it in a different way. Like we can, many ways of doing innovation. Like there is another way of, tell me everything that will go wrong with our product or service. Why would we do that? Well, so we can flip it then and see if we're actually doing any of that right now. And people's heads kind of explode and go like, yeah, I never thought of it like that. So let's think of all the bad things and use all the questions, negative or otherwise, and see where that might take us. So I think having that psychological safety to try these different things, to ask a question that maybe is that silly? Because I think, why do people not speak up? We're worried about what will happen, how we'll be treated, will we be criticized? And they're, I suppose, symptoms or the causes of a communication problem. And we often assume that quietness is agreement and everything is okay. And my experience is that later, something explodes or something happens, and it's like, okay. And we find, but we knew about these issues, and we knew this could be a challenge, and we knew this could be, of course, everything is easy in retrospect, but if some discerning voice had just put up their hand and said, hey guys, what about this scenario? Oh, well, let's not worry about that. But what if, and having the courage and the strength to be that voice, to say that.
And William, we have an exit question that we ask all of our guests, and that is, who is a hero of yours and why are they a hero?
I thought long and hard about this question, Ed, because I've listened to some of the previous podcasts. And I was going to say anyone who dedicates their time to helping people in disaster, famine, wars, all kinds of suffering. But to pin it down to one person, I would say the Polish film director Krzysztof Kieślowski. The Polish people listening to this, if there are any, will kind of slap me later for pronouncing his name wrong. But this was a Polish film director who applied to film school in Poland 3 times. The first 2 times he failed. He didn't get in. And the 3rd time, he actually got in then. And he wanted to make films about people, everyday life. But the situation in Poland at the time caused him to get into conflict with the government. And he ended up moving away from documentary films. But what he really wanted to do was kind of share with the world experiences in life and people. And I came in contact with his films in the early 90s in Dublin because he was Polish. And then he started making films in French. There's things like the Three Colors trilogy, Blue, White, and Red. Now, a lot of people see these as kind of pretentious, and there's these things like metaphysical, but at that time, for me, that kind of touched me where I was in my life, and I kind of made a connection. And I think maybe for what we're talking about now is about focusing on what you want and, going towards your passion and, being willing to take that where it might go for all the difficulties and the challenges and seeing where that might go. And I think I really connected with this kind of idea of that. So he's someone that I can relate to a lot, even if some people think that film makes no sense. But hey, we all have our heroes.
And lastly, William, how can somebody contact you?
So they can contact me with william.boone@sage.com, or externally it's willboon, WILLBOON @gmail.com.
All right. My Sage colleague, William Boone, thanks so much for being a guest on the Sage Thought Leadership Podcast.
Thank you, Ed. Delighted it was to be here. Thank you.
Review and subscribe by searching your podcast player of choice for Sage Thought Leadership Podcast.